Good morning. Good morning. Um, Ever since that first night when Adradika took the phone, before that evening she went out with Al, she has been calling me and called me again after yesterday's afternoon exercise. Some difficulties have been arising in their relationship. So I need to talk about that. And then I also need to correct yesterday's video. I realized shortly afterwards that I used the wrong word at the wrong time. I was suggesting that the finger be inserted in the vagina so that you could be certain you were squeezing the vaginal sphincter muscle, and I mistakenly said the anal sphincter muscle, which brings up another item. Over the course of time practicing, you should be able to selectively squeeze the vaginal sphincter muscle, the anal sphincter muscle, or the sphincter muscle around the urethra, which women use because men have the prostate. And a lot of women have been trained to pull the Kegel, and it's a pain. But yes, it's a necessary exercise, just like you're going to do push-ups or any kind of physical exercise. I remember that one lady said that when she pulls up to a stoplight, or that she'll pull Kegels, she'll practice the Kegel. Nobody has to see you doing this. I mean, you do it internally. In fact, a lot of the sophisticated ancient yoga is done internally and not in these pretty young girls in leotards doing fantastic uh, stretches and contortions that none of us would ever be. Well, I don't need to go into that. Um, so, yeah, whatever your opportunities are throughout the day, to practice and develop those muscles, it really is. You start with the mula bandha and engage the floor of the pelvis, and then for the man, I spoke of the prostate. There is a male maneuver where you actually squeeze and draw up the prostate, or you can think about the peritoneum and try to draw the peritoneum up through the belly, and then the other locks, the diaphragmatic lock, and then the throat lock, uh, all in the all in order to draw up energies through the chakras, or really through the endocrine glands. I talked about that the other day, and and to incorporate this into the practice, the tantric yoga practice.
Coffee.
Thank you very much.
Do you want me to dump this milk or leave it?
No, leave it.
Okay.
It's not really a rest home. People come and go all the time. Um, Tantric yoga. Okay. The idea is that without moving your bodies physically, you engage these locks, particularly the mula bandha, together, embraced in a sexual embrace, and you use that movement, that muscular movement, to begin an orgasm. And even though you'd be very tempted to accelerate to the end and enjoy the hedonistic pleasure of the orgasm, it's a spiritual practice, and it's a spiritual energy uh, practice. So you have to be patient with each other, be patient with the posture, with the, uh, and you have to be very, you have to be very in tune with your partner so that you both can enjoy the beginning, uh, the maturation of the orgasm to the end, and with enough practice, you can enjoy all of that to a final orgasm with only the squeezing in unison, both of you, or back and forth like a teeter totter. And therein lies the difficulty that Adradika was talking with me, Al, in it. particularly for the male, you want to race to the finish line, and that's a good analogy because if you think about it, you're going for a romantic walk in the beach in the morning, you're holding hands, you're walking slowly, and that's a corollary for how this practice is. You slowly engage the movements, you begin the sensations, the arousal of the sensations, and then you slowly walk together, hand in hand, step for step, and continue on the journey to the finish line, but not one ahead of the other. And usually the man being more, well, in the case of racing to the end, you get all excited, I'm going to go to the finish line, so I'm just going to run on ahead. Well, how does that feel for the woman being left behind and seeing the guy race to the finish line? Not very nice, not very considerate. And therein lies the problem. Being patient. I mean, you could do the flip side where the woman can accelerate and she races to the finish line, but you don't experience the pleasure together. You're no longer on a teeter-totter going up and down. One slams down, the other goes up. And the whole idea of this practice is develop that kind of unity. Yoga, the word means unifying, attaching together, yoking. It takes patience and practice to arouse, mature, and climax together. And it takes a lot of like being in tune with the other's body and then being considerate. Think about the consideration, not racing ahead one of the other. I mean, early on in my college career, it was a place where I could race to the finish line and turn around and come back in refractory, and then we could both go over together, which was great. Simultaneous orgasm, and that's where this is headed, so that you build it up together, walk across the finish line together, and then it's a very ecstatic, a very, it's not only physically, it's mentally and spiritually very satisfying, and it all develops from a consideration of your partner, a hand-in-hand engagement, and that takes time to develop that kind of empathy with the practice, and that was kind of the nature of what Adradika was talking with me about. Is there, like, I know Al, could I give her any insights? And yeah, maybe it was Al's race to the finish line that developed that first frustration on his wife's part that he wasn't patient and kind, and maybe the new guy that she met, starting out slowly in their relationship with conversation and then hand holding, and then that first kiss is where it all starts, and then it is like the relationship can rapidly do. But like maybe he took the time, and maybe they went together and they crossed the finish line together, and Al was not aware of that or wasn't able to refrain or restrain, and or develop the consideration of the other's partner so they could both cross together. And this is kind of a delicate subject to bring up but you have to be forthright enough in the relationship, and you have to be secure enough and honest enough in the relationship that when these little problems crop up, like Adradika, since she has an education in psychology, she realizes what can go wrong if they don't correct this in the beginning. And maybe you have some ideas about how all this can be resolved, and that's the nature of this episode, bringing to you the beginning of what could be a split in the relationship if it isn't somehow corrected or remedied at this point. So thank you for listening in, and I appreciate any comments or suggestions you would have. Thank you. Thank you for listening in today. Bye-bye.